Hello and welcome back to the Business of Football podcast, episode number 9. And today we have a very, very special episode. It is the first episode where we have a guest speaker. It was a fantastic interview with David. I'm really excited to bring this one to you. I just want to say quickly apologies for any of the naming errors. This was filmed quite a while back, so I do apologize for that. But I really am excited to bring this to you guys. I hope you enjoy the episode and I'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back to Bursting into the Sea. This is episode number 9 and this is going to be the first interview with someone that I like to consider a mentor, someone that's helped me in my journey so far, and someone that has got over a decade's worth of experience in business. He's seen it all. David Johnson-Rayner, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. How are you doing today?
Hi, David. Yeah, really well. Thank you. Really looking forward to this. I've listened to your previous episodes and it promises to be one hell of a podcast series. So to be part of it, mate, I love it. Thank you for inviting me on.
No, absolutely. And I didn't even tell you this before, but you have the honour of being the very first guest that Bursting into the Scene has had. So that's a win in itself. You should be very happy with that.
15 minutes of fame, right?
You hopefully get more than that, you know. I really look forward to discussing, obviously, a bit about your journey, what you've done, and what's important with Bursting into the Scene is that we can, start to clear those blurred lines a little bit for other people, and making that journey a little bit more easier based on audio. So, for you, how have you been? What are you up to at the moment? How have you found the journey so far the last few months?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, overworked and underpaid, as I said to you before we started, but I think most people can claim that. No, things are really good. We do a lot of work within alternative education provision, which runs the same school year as traditional mainstream schools and colleges. So, of course, we're on this long summer break. I'm still waiting for my break to happen because we've kicked straight into building the complement in the curriculum programme for 2024-25. But mate, I love it. I love my job. I love my work, and so it is kind of nice to be able to concentrate more time on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's quite good. Those social mobility is that kind of that similar bracket social mobility type of work?
100%. Yeah, we're very keen. I mean, I'm a long-term advocate of the hidden talents of young people, whether they are into sport or not. I've seen what they can do given half the chance, and so social mobility is huge for me. It's a slight twist on social mobility because I think most people look at social mobility as supporting people from families who are financially challenged or people that perhaps have special education needs and disabilities. But this is ours because what we're building within COY's ThirdEye's complementary curriculum program is a great proof of concept program, and it's a great fun, and it just gives people the opportunity to shine.
No, that's good. Absolutely. Like, where does that even come from, the idea of your interest in promoting young people? Because it's not really something that is generally common practice, I would say, amongst people in the industry in general.
Yeah, I just got fed up with people, for want of a better phrase, slagging off young people. The sweeping statements when, admittedly, there is a faction of youth throwing bricks at police, perhaps anti-social behaviour. But come on, look at the mix of people throwing bricks. It's not just young people, and it's a very small section of society. We do our bit to try and improve that area, but young people in general, so much to give, so talented. And if people would only just open their eyes and look at what young people can do, next generation, call it whatever you like, our future's in safe hands.
Yeah, it is. And it's just about getting that message out, isn't it, really? And helping people believe in themselves as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give people opportunities. And if they choose to take them, they'll be surprised what they can achieve.
That's the thing, though, is if they choose. Some people you might think, if they're not really up for it. But, it's a really good thing. I mean, obviously working alongside, I've seen that way that you boost and encourage people. Is there any kind of like stories that you've had with people where you've looked at them and gone, wow, this person, they really have the minerals, but then they don't see it in themselves and then it just never really works out.
Yeah, I think the first example I'll give, it wouldn't be fair for me to name the individual, but when you were with us at Complementing the Curriculum as the CEO, Barry Pierpoint, former CEO of Leicester City and various other clubs, he did some coaching and mentoring one-to-one with students. And there was one individual who, when I was getting feedback from Barry, he said, if we can just bring him out of his shell, he will be a superstar.
Yeah.
And he has gone on and been promoted within ThirdEYE in his third year at university. He's now sitting in the senior executive. You know, I think sometimes it just needs pointing out, identifying and coaxing that confidence out of the individual, making them think differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is. Did you have someone when you were starting or going through your journey that helped you to find your skill set and your, talent?
I don't know. I mean, I've mentioned Barry Pierpoint already. I consider him my coach mentor, if you like. Mm-hmm. But there are lots of people that have offered encouragement because when I started Koi Sports, which is where all of this comes from, it was me and one other.
Yeah.
And the challenges that are thrown at you in starting up a business, whether it's a social enterprise or a commercial business, are huge. And people like John Woodcock, he's a trustee now. He was full of encouragement, and he was somebody I could turn to when things perhaps weren't going as I wanted. I was getting frustrated and I couldn't see that light at the end of the tunnel. Richard Weston over in the States, he's another one. He helped form and is a big part of ThirdEYE. So me and him pushed that forward. Yeah. Those two people on a personal level are integral in my life. From a business perspective, I've already mentioned Barry Pierpoint, but others, Patrick Burge, for example, he is somebody who has a lot of experience in business, and from a coach mentor perspective, his phone's always on, his door's always open, and funnily enough, he's a mirror image of me, except I have a poor excuse for a beard and he doesn't. So those are the people that have been big in my journey with Koi Sports ThirdEYE to date.
Mentors are massive, aren't they? It's just huge. Yeah, absolutely. I think another person worth shouting out, because it's all very male centric, is Stacey Ragg. Yeah.
Stacey, again, I've not known her for that long, maybe 4 years now, something like that. But she's that bubbly person that you go, right, I want to know how she did this. I want to know how she did that. So, having Stacey to talk to and call upon, again, integral to what we're doing.
It is. I think I've learned it pretty much in this time, is that so many different people offer so much, and your own scope of knowledge is so limited that when you have other people to call upon, it just makes the journey so much easier.
It does. And sometimes you're surprised by the amount of support some people will give you. Yeah. You don't want to be a burden on them. I don't want to ring them because it's a stupid time of day. Yeah. Lots of people out there, just want to see you succeed and want to play their part in that. So that they're always available. Yeah,
no, you're right. And I would say you're one of them, personally, for me. And
thank you.
It's important. I feel like sometimes when I message, I'm like, am I really going to bother you today? And then you reply quite quickly. I'm like, oh, that's actually really nice. So, but then it gives you the encouragement I think that's really needed. I think it's just so important. And I always try to tell people who are coming into it, if you can find someone that can help you that's also been on the journey or a bit older than you, then you'd be surprised how much it helps you.
Yeah, I agree 100%, mate. I agree 100%. Without them, life would be so much harder, right?
Yeah, it would. And, when you started out and you said it was challenging in the beginning, did you have to go through a lot of those challenges alone, especially, I guess, when you were building up? Or did you always have that knowledge that someone else can come and help me or give me a bit of guidance?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I class myself as a social entrepreneur. So what we're trying to do is to make other people's lives better. Mm-hmm. So I think when you're starting a business like that, it's full of challenges because you have to understand and abide by the regulations. The challenges early doors really were finding our way. So we started off doing one thing within the world we wanted to live in, and then had to switch, whether that was because of lockdown or whether it was because you have to admit that that's not going to work or you're not best suited to do that. So the challenges were far and wide. But I think there's you have it with you doing this podcast, starting your own business, a fire within and a desire not to fail and a desire to make a difference. And that helps you overcome those challenges. You know, people say have a plan B. Well, actually, if you have a plan B, it gives you a reason not to do plan A. So I'm a great believer in there's plan A, A1, A2, A3, but it all circles around what it is that you wanted to do.
I've never actually thought of it that way. Because I probably write down like 3 or 4 plans, like, okay, if this doesn't work, then this is what I'm going to do. And then you're right, you just end up having a reason not to do the first plan that you started off with, which might have been good. That's a good point, actually. I didn't even realise that.
Have that one for free, David.
Thank you, I'll take that one. So, you know, that's really good. And I guess now you're in a position where, you've made those mistakes or you've made those challenges. And so how, you know, I guess if you could go back and look at yourself from the beginning, what would you tell that person? What would you say, you know, this is what you should do, or this is what you shouldn't worry about?
I think sometimes, especially in the world of charitable business, is that you seem to think that because you are charitable, people should help you, and you know, people will welcome you with open arms. If I was to go back and tell myself something, it would be don't rely on other people. Those people that want to help you will appear. And they did. Just don't go pinning your hopes on other people doing things for you, because why should they? First and foremost, when you think about it, they have their own thing to do. So I think it's a fantastic journey, and I think you're going to love your journey. Now you're out of university, now you graduated, and you're going on this new pathway. It can be frustrating, but seriously, going to bed at night, sleeping well, and getting up with a fire in your belly every morning gets you out of bed, and it gets you doing what you want to do. So, you know, I wouldn't switch the last 5-6 years for anything. I've loved it and still loving it now.
Yeah, I can imagine. And one of those things, obviously, that you're doing, which is where we met, was ThirdEYE. And I'm going to give you the job of explaining what ThirdEYE is in the best possible way.
Yeah. How long have you got?
All day, honestly. Go ahead.
I always thank you. I always tell people we've created a cuddly monster. Cuddly monsters, they need a cuddle occasionally, like our business does. But yeah, ThirdEYE was born out of what we achieved during lockdown. When I say what we achieved, it gets a little complicated, which is why I think you've given the floor to me. So, Koi Sports is a social enterprise, a community interest company that we started back in first of November 2018. We were registered with Companies House. This was all pre-lockdown, of course. So we went on a journey doing what we thought we should do. So here we are going along this journey. We changed, we switched, not the main plan, but how we were going to achieve our social aims and objectives. And that was good fun, and we were doing okay. So we were a East Midlands based kitchen table business. Pre-lockdown, lockdown hits, everybody goes online, everybody adapts and adjusts what they do. Now, we don't often shout about this, and I'm not shouting and keeping my voice at very level, because COVID lockdown was a horrific time for some people, horrific. But if I'm looking for silver linings, it was huge for Koi Sports, because what it did was it took Koi Sports international just because of platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, etc. So the world opened up, and we had to adjust what we were doing to adapt to the way we were all living our lives. We took everything online, and what we wanted to do was we wanted to support the grassroots / community sports sector as a way of still being able to positively influence local communities. We decided that we were going to start a membership scheme for businesses. Businesses would pay us a membership fee, and we would reinvest a high percentage of that membership fee into that business owner's chosen grassroots stroke community sports club.
Yeah.
What that was supposed to do was to drive income into those clubs to help them survive through COVID. The challenge, of course, was businesses weren't creating the profits that they used to, unless you had a government contract, of course. But with that came the challenge of, well, how can we ask people to give us money when their profits are down or they were lower than they would have normally been? Yeah. But the fact that we were quite cute in what we did is, if you give us money to invest into grassroots sport, we will give you a package of business benefits. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, we brought on in that 2, maybe 3 year period, just over 80 businesses. So fair play to them. We invested into 24 different sporting disciplines in 8 countries across 3 continents. Mm-hmm. And we achieved what we wanted to achieve. Lockdown ends, the world goes back to some kind of normality. We have to switch and adapt and change again. Yeah. There was born ThirdEYE International Sports Consultancy, and we wanted to draw upon our previous experience, lockdown and before, to deliver 2 main objectives. One of them we are yet to kick off because, and I'm not afraid to admit this, it's failed. Okay. To date, not for the want of trying, it just hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So one was to look after the good mental health of people within the sports sector. Mm-hmm. That's the one that we've, in inverted commas, struggled with. Yeah. We wanted to do that by offering consultancy roles to sports people and people working within the sports sector during times of inactivity, when their risk to the mental health is at its highest. For example, if a football player gets injured and they're out for 12 months, they're now away from the way they are used to living their lives. That's horrific, I would imagine. Never been a professional sports person, so I don't know. But if we can give that individual the opportunity to share their lived experience to benefit another sports club, another player, then we're doing something to fill that time. Plus, we're increasing their network for when eventually their career comes to an end. It might be of use then as well, because they've worked with other organisations within the sports sector. And the other one was social mobility, which is where most of my time is spent currently, with a view to then being able to kick in the mental health side of things. And complementing the curriculum, as it's called, is a social mobility initiative falling under the ThirdEYE programme, which is there to support sports academics. Mm-hmm. So young people going through university, and UCFB have been instrumental in allowing us to get this proof of concept off the ground. This is about providing an opportunity alongside a student's studies to gain experience of running a business, being able to add those experiences to their CV to enhance it. But also, what we do from the outside in is we look to drive business to that student-led business's back pocket. It's a very long, drawn-out explanation. However, to condense it, it's all about, if we take on a first year and give them some work experience with either ourselves, a client, or a partner, and they prove themselves, they gain a lot of experience and a contact. Yeah. If they want to, when they move to their second year of study, they can apply to be interviewed for a middle management position, account manager, team leader. Okay. Again, same principle applies. It's a different skill set and a different way of dealing with people, and opens up a whole new network of people to learn from, to get to know, and to potentially draw upon as things go by. Prove yourself again. You move to your third year. You have the opportunity to apply to become a director, mm-hmm. Whether that be a managing director or a department of a director or a CEO. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, and it's going really, 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 really well. Yeah. Really, really well.
So yeah, you're talking about ThirdEYE and obviously what it is in terms of complementing the curriculum. That's where I came through. How do you, obviously you're talking about it going very well. what are the benefits for you personally, seeing something work and seeing the cohesion of young people? You talked about it earlier, that bigger picture of getting young people and giving them that confidence. I know it gave me that confidence to be able to kind of do what I'm doing now, really. For you personally, who's been through that journey, what are the personal benefits that you feel on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. Well, I think it's important to point out at this stage that I'm not money motivated, because fortunately I don't have to be.
Yeah.
And my life in sales afforded me that. So it's really very much about passion projects for me. So the passion really is in proving myself right on a couple of fronts. The first one being why I'm an advocate for our next generation, but also, do I still have it? I'm 53 now. My appeal as a young, driven salesperson seems to have disappeared. And I think being able to do something which allows me to still satisfy the aims and objectives of QuickFire Sports Third Eye. It also is about being able to get satisfaction through seeing other people succeed. Yeah. I'll give you an example. So today, our HR director, student HR director, Lucy Overton, she was part of her first interview. We were interviewing another student for a position within complementing the curriculum. And rather than just throw her in at the deep end, because that wouldn't be fair, we decided before the interview that I would top and tail the interview, but Lucy would deliver the questions for the interviewee to answer. Yeah. Wow. Absolutely blew me away, David. Again, this is about giving people opportunities to try something new in a protected environment, admittedly, but to feel that pressure, but then to just go ahead and do it. And by going ahead and doing it, everybody surprises themselves, because the thought of doing it's worth than actually doing it itself. Yeah. So to switch my camera and my microphone off, because it was an online interview, and to watch and listen to Lucy have her first go at delivering that employability skill, if you like, that she can add to her CV, was to see how controlled and measured she was, how calm she was, how when it didn't go to plan A, i.e. you ask a question and the interviewee answers it, they throw a question back. In some instances, and with some people, it would be, and you would see it. Yeah. She just took this in her stride. Watching her face never changed. And she managed very, very quickly to twist what was an awkward scenario round. Admittedly, she knew I was watching as well. To switch that around very quickly, then just throwing a question back, which answered the interviewee's question and allowed him then to answer the original question, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When we finished the call, heaping praise on somebody who deserves it is one of the best things any business owner can do. It's very easy to throw out compliments, but when you actually mean it, because you've seen that young person succeed in doing something which they're doing for the first time and might feel quite unnatural, is mate, that feeling is immense. And working within complementing the curriculum now, that you've recruited a student to that role who is going to give her very best and bring those skills and attributes she perhaps didn't know she had to the future running of that student-led business. Incredible, great experience. It's happened with Alessandro as well. Alessandro, watching him conduct directors meetings, incredible. Young people are incredible. Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing, and it's a great message to, I'm sure the belief and confidence that she would have had after that to go, wow, I can do this. Even if you weren't there, I'm sure she would have just thought, that's something that I never ever thought I can do in my life, but I've just done it first time straight away. And then you're like, wow, that's that. And that's the point of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the hope. That's what you hope you give these young people the opportunity to do. Mm-hmm. Tarek Saflo, International Partnerships Director student, again, in front of customers, amazing. Ellen Sharples, incredible. We've filled this social initiative, if you like, with complete strangers. Yeah. And those strangers, I'm hoping become long-term acquaintances and in some cases friends as well. It's just satisfying to see that working.
Yeah. I think one thing that's so good that, I probably only really learned, and felt the value of so much through that complementing the curriculum was the power of your network, and how suddenly you go from not knowing anyone to then you can call upon them or even just have conversations. And then you actually realize, wow, these people are also really, really talented. And I think it also elevates you to, up your level and up your way of working. And those guys are going to experience that too. So, like you said, there's going to be more, I'm sure, testimonies and stories of these guys just doing things that shock them. They're like, wow. And then for you, you can just sit back and go, this is the point. This is why, you started something like this in the first place, and really build that quality up a bit more.
I think so. You definitely demonstrated that when you went to work with Graham Warren, another person that's instrumental in our recent success. Yeah. We had that meeting, didn't we, where you were speaking with him for the first time. And afterwards, Graham said, well, how do I get David to come and work with me?
Yeah.
So that's credit to you and your abilities and your skill set. But at the same time, put in that situation, you perhaps don't know how you're going to react. However, you conducted yourself in such a way that made that individual want to know more about working with you and what's David Chimbaza all about. I'll bet he's super proud to see and hear you now running these podcasts, doing your own business. It's incredible what you've gone on to achieve, and it takes a big pair of balls as well, mate, to go, I'm going to do it on my own. So hats off to you.
No, thank you. And like you said, I would never have been put in that position. Even I'm sure like a week before, I was like, there's probably no way I'd imagine I'd get into contact with that type of a person. I mean, that's what business is as well. Like, you have to get put in a position and adapt. And I think it's such a valuable lesson that we learned, and they're going to learn through some complementing the curriculum. And I guess moving forwards now with complementing the curriculum as well, what's the overall goal? What's the aim now? It's on a good trajectory at the moment. Where do you want it to be come the end of, let's say, this, student term?
Yeah. So we have a short-term vision and a long-term vision. So what we want to see happen next is this promise that these young people have. We want to see it come together. We want to see it become a vehicle that can then become a trading business. We're already in that situation now, again, to the credit of your year and, since you've graduated, the other students that were brought on. And I think short-term, we want to be able to see this unit of strangers come together and work together as a team within the student-led business. But we never stand still. Well, I've learned that in business as well. You never stand still. And what we've done, and we've started having conversations with other universities in different parts of the world, is to replicate what we're doing here in the UK in different universities, initially one on each continent. What that will do is allow us to have actual feet on the ground and benefit students in different countries who can in turn create profits within that student-led business to invest in their own country's grassroots sport sector. But at the same time, because yourself and the students we currently have are legacy builders, what we hope that will give them is the opportunity then to boast on their CV about they built a business that actually had not just a remote international presence, but as the head office supported these universities, these other student-led businesses in different parts of the world across all four continents, however many continents there are. So geography was definitely not my point, my strength. But do you see how that in itself is a natural progression and gives that extra experience and opportunity to young people? Exactly.
It's a really, really exciting prospect. That's the point. So that's really exciting. And let's hope, and I'm sure the guys that are delivering at the moment, they're going to get there. And who knows, they might even go further. You might get there quicker than you even imagine. But let's not put pressure. Let's just, support in that way possible.
Well, just on that, again, just giving a shout out to Alessandro. He was part of that initial conversations we're having with a lady called Harsha Pandya, who also loves the complementing the curriculum model and what it's there to achieve. And again, where I'm so used to it being me that people are directing the questions at, all of a sudden I find myself redundant, and that's really strange.
Yeah.
Succession planning is essential in business. What's my exit plan? Well, my exit plan is to build this and have these students and any resultant businesses run it myself. What you never prepare yourself for is when you are not wanted or not needed. You're usually that driving force. Now you've got this young upstart, third year student, who's the current student CEO of Complementing the Curriculum. They're wanting to talk to him, David, not this beauty that you see in front of me. It's so strange, and it's not upsetting, but it's that realization that in what we're doing, you almost take the whole emphasis off of you, and it's not about you and what you're trying to do now. It's about what you've instilled in these young people. It's fascinating, David. See the journey. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And he's great, Alessandro. So I'm sure he'll be fine. That's really good.
They're all good. They're all good. All these students will get their opportunity to shine, and I hope they continue to surprise me.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic. I want to finally end this interview with a few quick fire questions.
Okay.
No pressure. Just give some answers. I won't judge you for any of them. Don't worry. My first question for you. The first question for you is, where do you see the sports business industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years? Complete prediction.
Unfortunately, I think it will become even more money dependent and money driven, which is why we're big advocates of trying to do away with the pay to play model that appears in certain parts of the world. And I think in 5 to 10 years, I dread the whole world of grassroots and community sport going pay to play. It's the worst thing. Whoever came up with that idea was just on about lining their own pockets. Yeah. But in 5 to 10 years' time, I can just see money just taking over and ruining it, starting to ruin the game if that hasn't started happening already. I know it's a bit of a downtrodden answer, David, but it's an honest answer, mate.
No, it's a shame. The way it was, you really don't want to lose that, especially here. It's part of the culture, and you lose so much. Too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Second question. If you could gain one skill instantly that would help your profession, what would it be and why?
Administration. I am the world's worst administrator. I'm terrible, but I'm too tight to employ anybody to do it for me. Unfortunately. Mate, if I could learn to be an administrator, brilliant. But that's not going to happen. Too old to be bothered now.
That's fair enough. And finally, if you could have dinner with 2 people in the whole of history, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
So for my sins, and people get so fed up of me playing Prince songs, I'd love to have a sit-down meal with Prince. And I'd like to have a sit-down, there's a strange one, with Lee Harvey Oswald. There you go. Find out what went on, what the truth was.
Those are 2 really off. I didn't think that. That's good, actually. I was expecting the typical Ali or I don't know,
right,
something like that. But those are good answers. Thank you.
Mate.
So, David, if you want to go ahead, who should everyone follow and where?
Now, about what we're doing is through LinkedIn. So if you wanted to either link in with me, David Johnson-Rayner, Rayner, but also we'd appreciate any follows on LinkedIn on our company page, the ThirdEYE International Sports Consultancy. It's a great way of keeping up to date with everything that the students are doing, what's happening within the student-led business, and also how you can get involved. Our website, currently going through some updates at the moment, so don't take too much of it at the moment, but for future use, www.ThirdEYE, ISC, International Sports Consultancy, www.thirdeyisc.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.